the word of truth, we took the words of lie. And we fell, we die spiritually, and we fell into ignorance, into sin, and under the dominion of an evil influence. So instead of creating a good world, we actually created the kingdom of hell on earth. If we talk about hell, we are living in hell. You know, I think we don't have to ask questions. We can go, you know, any place and there is crime everywhere. That's not heaven, you know. So because of the fall, fallen men are living in the kingdom of hell on earth, where we're struggling looking for the ideal world. When fallen man dies in hell, naturally, smoothly transmigrate into the kingdom of hell in the spiritual world, you know. But hell is like, man's supposed to be perfect, you know. It's just like, for example, when we are in the mother's womb, the first stage, if something goes wrong, maybe the child can be born crippled.
Yes.
And that is, we can call that hell, right? Means not normal. The child will not be happy, parents will not be happy, he will not function normally. And then we live on earth. I believe if I lead a life on earth, a life of goodness, a principle life, a God-centered life, I can allow my spirit to develop and to grow. And if I die physically and I mature myself, you know, spiritually, my physical body will die, but my spirit will be healthy and will transmigrate into a good world according to the good life that I live on earth. So heaven or hell is not determined neither by God or Satan. It's determined by the kind of life that we live while we are on the basis of our physical body. That's why it's important to live a life of goodness.
There's a lot of that I actually agree with, and I always thought as a child, I mean, being raised in a Christian family,
yes,
that I thought to myself, well, how could God possibly put his children in hell? How could he, you know, why would he do that? A loving person, a loving God wouldn't do that to
absolutely.
Yeah. That's, you know, how I feel about that. What didn't resonate that much, you know, for me with what you said was, for example, maybe a child who's born retarded and stuff like that, you know. I think that all of us here on this earth and everyone who's ever existed, I think, you know, people who we meet every day, I believe that there's always a lesson there. There's always a lesson there.
Sure.
That's what I believe. And what all these different lessons are, you know, for this person over there, that person, it's not really my business, personally.
Yes.
Anything I can do to help, always a good thing, right? We're all brothers and sisters. Why not?
Yes.
And I too, you know, if I have a friend, perhaps she's, you know, drinking a lot while she's pregnant, I would advise her to please not do that. You know, I would. However, I also have to understand, for me personally, I believe that this is her lesson. She's got to go through what she's got to go through. And if the child comes out retarded, perhaps, then I actually don't necessarily look at it as a negative thing. And the reason for that is because, you know, I can't necessarily agree with that. If you die and you're not spiritually healthy, that you're kind of going to be, for lack of a better term, screwed up in the spirit world. I don't necessarily believe that. I think it's a good idea to want to grow spiritually. I think that's ideal, and I'm being a little bit judgmental there even. I think that would be a very good idea. But everyone's personal lesson is everyone's personal lesson, and I think retardation is even a state of mind, not for the child who's retarded, but for me, to judge and say that this is retarded. What if they're actually more normal than I think? What if they actually, in their retardation, know a lot more than I do? You know, autistic children are quite impressive and quite amazing, and I think the ultimate language, real language, is vibration, not words. And and you can have beautiful communication, I think,
Yeah.
with an autistic child.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my point of view on that. What can I ask next? Let's see here. Okay, so there's a lot of talk. I don't know if you've heard about all this talk about 2012.
Mm-hmm.
You have? No?
Yeah, some.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Calendar predictions. There's the Mayan calendar predicts that the world ends in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Jewish, and there's some other ones too that I don't remember off the top of my head. What do you make of that? Is any of that possibly true about 2012?
Like the end of the world.
The end of the world, or people take it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
The way I like to look at it the best is that it's not, it may be the end of the world as we know it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about a new beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that. See, like
if it's true, if we
yeah,
do that.
if we ourselves realize, we are not causal beings. We did not create ourselves. We are resultant beings.
Okay.
We're created by someone.
I agree.
We can understand, that there is a creator, and he created us, and somehow we deviated, and we are not the way we originally meant to be. So why I believe that there has to be an end, but I will explain what kind of end. Yeah. If the first human ancestors will have fulfilled their human portion of responsibility, centered on their own free will, the first years, will have been, the first days will have been the good days of the kingdom of heaven on the earth that will last throughout eternity. But because the first days, as the result of the fall, began with the wrong foot, not according to the ideal, of God, the ideal of goodness, but the ideal of evil, So men fell, and instead of beginning the good world, we began with the wrong step, like where Lucifer seduced the woman seduced the man, and the first son of Adam and Eve, Cain, killed his brother. This is the structure where the human race comes with the victory of dysfunctional and an evil family. So that history that we began must come to an end. And that's why I agree the end of the world is when evil goes to the highest peak, But goodness will begin also. And the end of evil is when goodness meets with evil, and evil will decline and goodness will prevail. So, yeah. So I feel God's expectation is that by that time, because God is a mathematical God, and it works through numbers, and it's a timetable given as a chance to humanity, During this time, I feel that mankind has to go through incredible, drastic change in the world if we want to keep living in the good world.
Sure.
Otherwise, some things may happen.
Sure.
I believe that.
Okay. Yeah.